I feel they have fabricated these stories, or if there's any shreds of truth, anybody who felt that, oh, anything he did maybe was off color, I feel that it was sought out to be a calculated attack for this very time, which is a grander purpose because it's happening to a lot of men and it's about to happen to a lot more. I feel the person we see today is truly the evolution of a lifetime of hard work. It's really easy for people to cast stones in glass houses, isn't it? People who have never been in the public eye. I really care about addicts who once behaved in a certain way absolutely cannot have their past drug forward. There were times he was disrespectful, not fully in integrity, but he also is a victim of the entertainment industry in that way to behave that way. Those people,
a lot of people encouraged it. A lot of people encouraged it. And at the time, I'm 43 years old. I remember all that in that period. Like at the time, It was all rowdy fun. And frankly, I miss those times because I don't think what we have now is better. But that's a whole other conversation.
That is a whole other really good conversation that I would love to have with you, actually, because it's important.
No, it is. It's to understand that for every change in society, like Me Too has been a huge change, even if it's a positive one, it entails a lot of negative things as well. There's no free lunch with any change, with any ideology. And so I think you and I and others are asking what's the collateral damage, the downside of this transformation that society has undergone with its perspectives on romantic relationships and assault and gender. But
maybe he was a lost soul when he was younger, and we all witnessed it very, very publicly. And I think who we have seen in the past many years is not the same man. We're talking about a man who has gone on with his life, gotten sober, gotten married, has children, and my understanding is that he has a new baby on the way. And what about his wife and this new unborn baby? Imagine the stress. This is not okay to be doing to someone. A beautiful wife of his and children and newborn baby. Like, this is really inhumane to be bringing this forth. And that's why I feel it's for a bigger agenda of an evil public agenda out there. I don't speak publicly about anything, and I haven't for many years. I've been in the jungles in Bali and Hawaii and
literally in the jungles, right?
Literally in the jungles in India, like traveling the world on a deep, deep, deep spiritual path. And I knew Russell at the time where he was still in his sex addiction. I witnessed it. I experienced it as his lover in our life. And I also saw a person who was actively wanting to change and actively changing. And I think and feel and believe the one that is before us today is the end result of that. Not end. He's still here. He's not going anywhere.
The evolution of that.
The evolution. I really like to speak to anybody that is claiming that the Russell Brand that we see today is an act to deceive people into thinking that he is the same person that he was in his younger days, 12 or even more years ago. So just think into your own life, how much you have changed, whoever's watching this, from 12, 15, 20 years ago, if you're that old. How much have you changed? And I truly feel that the behavior that was less than integral at times, which we even saw publicly on talk shows, it wasn't hidden. I feel it's truly a product of Hollywood. I have seen people be someone that they're not to try and be famous. And Russell's a genius, brilliant, talented man who is playing the game to get famous, to become what he ultimately was meant to become. But this, I feel, ultimately the entertainment industry is to blame. They are the ones who have created this environment. Anybody who hasn't been a celebrity can't even imagine the pressure in which someone is living and the alternate realities. It becomes very confusing when someone is in the spotlight. And I have never been at the height of fame as Russell, of course, but I've been around it as a performer.
You've been around a lot of celebrities, yeah, and in the celebrity life, for sure.
it was very much a part of my world, and I've never been one to even take a photo with any celebrity because that's not who I am. I truly see people for who they are, and I was seen as an equal as well, which was why I was always invited into a lot of circles, why I was invited to perform at A-list only nightclubs in Hollywood, because I'm not someone who was pandering after that, but being so ingrained and involved in a witness as well as being in it, I saw how people, myself even truly as a younger actress, but going for that, there's this air of inauthenticity that is really people become someone they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, even I believe in one of the documentaries that Russell did, and I haven't watched a lot of his stuff. I've never read his books or anything, but there was a piece that I saw where he was in Africa and he saw what was really going on in the world. And I could see true change in him. And I know that he has truly looked at himself and has realized that the way the world was working in his life was not working. The entertainment industry was not the way that he was wanting to go anymore. I saw him in an interview speak on this, that it wasn't what he wanted anymore.
You can find it on my channel. I actually spliced together the best scenes from each of their documentaries, and it's really clear when you put the scenes like I have in the video. People should check it out on my channel.
Yeah.
But when you put the scenes together, where they're discussing each of them each of their documentaries are discussing their marriage and what they're going through in life, and when you put it together, when you splice those scenes together, you really see why they divorced, because he was suddenly rethinking all of this Hollywood, all of that came with it, and really becoming very deeply disenchanted with that kind of plastic celebrity life, as he put it. Meanwhile, Katy Perry was reaching the apex of that world, and kudos to her. She was conquering it like an Amazon, right? But they're just in different places.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm saying here. So people who want to say it's all an act are people who haven't walked the path that he's walked. Who can speak on what is true for him or who he truly is, that hasn't known him, for one thing, or has never even remotely lived a life anywhere close to him to know. And as someone who is in the entertainment industry, in many different facets, behind the camera and in front of the camera, on stage, behind stage, I've been in it and all around it in so many ways. I know that for anyone who's truly here for the good, we get out. We want nothing to do with it. And which is why he is now speaking the truth on what is going on in this world. And that's why I feel they have fabricated these stories, or if there's any shreds of truth, anybody who felt that, oh, anything he did maybe was off color, I feel that it was sought out to be a calculated attack for this very time, which is a grander purpose, because it's happening to a lot of men and it's about to happen to a lot more. I feel, it's a classic case of look over here because they don't want you looking over here.
That raises another point, actually, that I was going to see if you share my concern on this, because I really think that there needs to be, with these types of allegations, I think that we need a much shorter statute of limitations. Not only, I'm not talking about even criminally, although yes, but I'm talking about even in the way that we discuss these things, and that we now crucify and cancel people for something. I mean, if Russell Brand has not been a danger to a woman in decades, and he is reformed and living this quiet domestic life, why are we going back and digging up something that happened years and years and years ago that we're not even sure about, that people won't even put their names to?
Exactly. Thank you so much. And I will tell you that my mother also shares your opinion. This is what I've heard out of my own mother's mouth, who's in her 70s, that there's got to be a cutoff point for this. He can't remember everything he did, especially in the period of time, which I feel is very calculatedly chosen, 2006 to 2013, knowing that a big earlier part of that, he was likely not sober yet.
I think that you were talking about how you feel like we're really at a point where we're going to be seeing more and more of these Me Too cases, and men being falsely accused or improperly accused or what have you. And I think that what I've been saying on my channel for 2.5 years since I started covering this is that these kinds of social trends, they hit the weird guys, or they hit the really edgy guys, or the guys who kind of are pushing the envelope. This kind of thing hits them first, but it doesn't stop there. And so it's like the canaries in the coal mine. Yeah, of course, right now it's Russell Brand, who is well known as being this really randy sex addict comic, or it's in my opinion, Marilyn Manson, or some of these others that I think are innocent, but they have these personas. And people say, well, I'm not like them. I'm not living this crazy life. I'm just, your normal guy. Well, this is going to start coming after more normal guys, in corporations and places of work, businesses, lawsuits, all kinds of things. And we're already seeing it now, because I'm contacted all of the time by quote unquote normal guys who have gotten sucked into something with false allegations.
You're absolutely right. I witnessed this in my community in Hawaii. This
Really?
is going on. Oh, absolutely. It's going on all over. And Russell is a very easy target because it was his character, but it's not who he is.
I don't think so. I don't think it's accurate. Okay, so sounds like you had overall a good experience with him, and you say that you never experienced any kind of abuse or assault or harassment or anything.
No, absolutely not. I never recognized, witnessed, or experienced any kind of abusive, violent, or manipulative energy or behavior with Russell, sexually or anything peripheral within that whole scope of whatever people are saying. I did not experience, witness any of that.